Femininity in general is seen as frivolous. People often say feminine people are doing the most, meaning that to don a dress, heels, lipstick, and big hair is artifice, fake, and a distraction. But I knew even as a teenager that my femininity was more than just adornments. They were extensions of me, enabling me to express myself and my identity. My body, my clothes, and my makeup are on purpose, just as I am on purpose.
Brutally killed on a back alley. It's a crime that has the local LGBT community fearful.
It's really scary that I can't walk out the door and trust anyone I talk to.
Baltimore police say they found the body of 26-year-old Mia Henderson in this alleyway behind Piedmont Avenue early Wednesday morning. Henderson was once known as Kevin Long. She's from North Carolina and was staying with relatives in the city. She was killed 2 weeks after she got to town.
A community grieving tonight as a transgender woman is shot and killed, and her killer is still on the loose.
First tonight, a transgender woman speaks out as the man charged with hurting her in a hate crime sits in jail.
Tyra Trent, the transgender woman, was found strangled to death in an abandoned home in Park Heights back in February.
Kimball Kimmy Hartman is a transgender woman living in the Bushwick, Brooklyn section of New York. 3 weeks ago, she stopped on Bushwick Avenue to get something to eat with a few of her gay friends. And that was all it took for 4 people to attack them and brutally beat her.
Transgender woman India Clark. Clark, who was born Samuel Elijah Clark, was found dead at the University Area Community Center.
Transgender teenager will have to spend the night in the hospital after getting stabbed in the back on a Metro Green Line train. Tonight we know more about her attacker, and we've learned he will be charged with a hate crime.
Diamond identifies as a transgender woman, but was locked up in an all-male prison. Inside, she says that she was raped more than 7 times, beat up, and verbally abused.
A woman accused of beating a transgender woman now admits that it was a hate crime. Deonna Brown will go to prison because she attacked someone who was different.
Los Angeles police are searching for leads in the shooting death of a 47-year-old transgendered woman and what they describe as a robbery gone wrong.
The first time I heard your name, it was because you had already been arrested.
Janaea Purcell is a well-spoken 18-year-old. Born a boy, given the name Jackson, she identifies as a woman. She works as a female at the Polynesian Cultural Center. She says she transitioned from Jackson to Janaea while in high school at Kahuku.
You need to prove to me that your identity in your body is real. And I'm going to ask you these questions because I need to investigate and really make sure that your identity and your body is real and authentic.
Now, what is a transgender woman?
Yes.
What does that even mean now?
Okay.
Can you break? It means she used to be a guy,
but now it's a woman.
This is
so weird.
Are you just saying a woman then? I can't even keep up anymore.
A 2011 survey by the National Center for Transgender Equality found 41% of transgender people had attempted suicide.
They are nearly 4 times more likely to make less than $10,000 a year compared to the general population.
78% of those surveyed reported harassment during K-12 schooling, 35% reported physical assault, and 12% were sexually assaulted.
The body of Alicia Walker, a 20-year-old transgender woman missing for almost a year, was recently found in a crude grave in North Carolina. This comes amidst reports of 3 other black transgender women killed in Texas, Michigan, and Arizona. Shade Schuler, whose body was found in a Dallas field, Amber Monroe, who was shot and killed in a Detroit park, and Candace Capri, shot dead Tuesday night in Phoenix, Arizona. Now Tamara Dominguez of Kansas City, Missouri, has reportedly become the latest transgender woman murdered.
Both women were asked to remove all their jewelry, makeup, and wigs before the DMV would photograph them.
They're saying that I need to fulfill a certain look that they are designating means male, and that I'm, hiding who I am, which I'm absolutely not.
Both women say they were also referred to as it.
Words can't explain the humiliation I felt that day.
That was the worst thing in 52 years of my life that I have ever felt.
I'm Jessica Taylor. I'm an airline pilot. I am transgender. I want to know if you can see me. First of all, what would make you uncomfortable with me using the women's restroom?
She's a very attractive woman.
Your private parts are different now, aren't they?
I don't want to talk about it because it's really personal.
Don't you feel funny with the wrong genitalia? Not as a joke, you stand up in the women's bathroom.
You've got breast implants. They're tasteful, whatever's going on there. Thank you.
So if I saw you undressed, you would look like a woman to me, totally, yes?
What are you doing?
Y'all do, motherfucker. Y'all sell y'all's people, you garbage, motherfucker. You a transvestite videotaping me, motherfucker. Suck my dick. You ain't about shit. You sitting over here recording me while you doing what? Sucking my dick? Okay, bitch, bye. You ain't nobody. You a fucking homo, gay motherfucker and some fucking women's products and whatnots. Like, what are you gonna do to survive in the long run? I mean, do you do this on the weekends or is this an everyday event for you? Like, you sit up and get on the train every day, like, what do people think about me one day? And then you cut all your shit off, put your extensions back in, and go back to work. Like, who are you really under all that makeup? Where'd you come from? Are you the emperor of China? Or, like, how are we supposed to act with you? What should we do about you? Because this shit right here ain't appropriate for my child. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'll fight you right now. I don't even feel comfortable with you, motherfucker. Put the camera down, motherfucker. Put the camera down, motherfucker. Put the camera down, motherfucker. I'm gonna knock that goddamn... What? What the fuck?
This pervasive idea that trans women deserve violence needs to be abolished. It's a socially sanctioned practice of blaming the victim. We must begin blaming our culture, which stigmatizes, demeans, and strips trans women of their humanity.
Did you feel like a girl?
I don't even know what that would feel like because I was told that I was.
With a bloody nose and a busted lip, these photos of Cara Barone speak for themselves. Now, a few days later, she says the physical wounds are healing.
I'm doing a lot better. My nose feels better now. It hurt pretty bad and my lip was sore for a couple days.
But the emotional pain will take time.
It's still a lot to take in and comprehend.
Police say Barone was in the bathroom at Down Under Lounge, and when she came out, this man, Stephen Thompson, punched her in the face, shouting homosexual slurs.
4 people came out to try to attack me, and they couldn't take me down because I was much stronger than they were and pretty.
You know, as leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement have made clear, and trans black leaders have also made clear, this is a national crisis. This is a state of emergency for the transgender community, and it's a state of emergency that's disproportionately affecting transgender women of color, and particularly black trans women. And we are living in a moment where we should be incredibly concerned about all of the mechanisms of violence against our community. And state violence includes the violence of police officers, but it also includes all of the ways in which transgender people, particularly transgender women of color, have their lives cut short through systems of discrimination and through the interpersonal violence that leads them to be killed, as these women have been. And it is absolutely devastating, and I hope that, you know, that we don't have to turn on the TV or look on Facebook or Twitter to see another trans woman of color murdered.
State-sanctioned discrimination never looks good and never works in hindsight. It was not so very long ago that states, including North Carolina, had other signs above restrooms, water fountains, and on public accommodations, keeping people out based on a distinction without a difference.
Your response, sir?
It's an insult, and it's a political statement instead of a legal statement. That it's an insult toward our state and 10 million people that has no relevance to this issue regarding whether a gender identity individual or a boy can go into a girl's restroom. To correlate that to the civil rights marches in the 50s and 60s is totally irresponsible of our chief legal officer of the United States of America. And she forgot to remind, just 3 years ago, the president was against gay marriage. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember her lecturing her boss on that issue. So this is a very sensitive issue between privacy and equality. Okay. And all we're asking for is the courts to give clarification on what's right, and we'll follow the law.
Our numbers of suicide and murder are outrageous.
Okay, so
he feels, she feels at home as a woman. That person is a woman on the inside and now gets to express that on the outside.
Right.
And people have been incredibly charitable, as they should be, about that transformation.
Look,
I just think it's slightly hypocritical that people are so outraged that someone might feel at home in a different race.
You know, I still feel as if I'm carrying the burden of people, that they're expecting me to communicate all of these things, but then also to give off all this private information about my body and my journey and my life. And, you know, I am very open in my book, so I understand why I'm in that space. But at the same time, I think some of the questions aren't necessary, right? Like the questions about your body. Why do we need to know that?
Anthony Trent changed her name to Tyra. As a transgender person, Sandra says Tyra found happiness. She says Tyra was outgoing and had lots of friends and enjoyed her life. Sandra says Tyra was a trip, but the joy of her life.
The local media in particular often misgenders the transgender women, calling them men, which is, itself contributes to the violence against them. And then the delays in bringing people to justice is also a concern for the transgender community. It's been 2 years since Elon Nettles was murdered right here in New York City, right here in Harlem, and it was a long time before any meaningful investigation was done, and people had to take to the streets over and over again. And of course, just bringing an individual to justice is not going to solve the problem of this violence, because it is systemic and it is institutional, and we really have to look at all of the ways in which transgender people, and black transgender women in particular, are cut off from systems of support.
No one seems to know anything. It's like, he wasn't on this earth, but he was missing for a week, and he wasn't dead for a week, so he was out there, somewhere. And I know there has to be some people that have, saw him and know, more than they're saying.
I'm hurting, though, and my son is gone.
Justice for my child. I want justice for the transgender community.
India's gone, and then now his life is gone, and it wasn't even worth it.
For this to happen is
nearly 4 years in prison, verbally abused, beaten, threatened your life, raped. Did anyone do anything to try and help you while you were there?
no. No one ever made any attempt to help me.
How did you deal with the fact that at any moment you could be sexually assaulted or perhaps even killed?
I prayed.
Kara says she's not as worried about her wounds and more concerned about what they mean to the transgender community.
And when they see stuff like that, they could be afraid of coming out. I was afraid to come out too, what could happen to me, in the future, just for me being me.
I think people need to learn more about androgynous people that are not male or female.
However, it does open up the question because of Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
If
Is
I
it
self-identify as a cat, a feline, do I have to pay income taxes? I mean, I'm just wondering, because there's Harris, you're giving me the side eye, but I'm asking a question
you make
because
money, then yes, you do.
This opens the door. Well, animals don't pay taxes, though. I mean, I just think we're opening the door to a very crazy, crazy debate where people who might not be mentally stable, some who may be, are going to come out and say, I self-identify as a insert animal, insert race, insert whatever a spaceship.
Okay, really,
I question sometimes if I'm even, safe under my own hands, because, there was a lot of suicide attempts, and, that's still a lingering thought that, stays with you, so.
Don't do that. That dynamic of praising a transgender person's courage and then not actually supporting them speaks to the fact that we are weirdly comfortable celebrating transgender people while simultaneously dehumanising them at the DMV, pinning awards to them as we drum them out of the military, and constantly quizzing them about their genitals.
Now let me also speak directly to the transgender community itself. Some of you have lived freely for decades, and others of you are still wondering how you can possibly live the lives that you were born to lead. But no matter how isolated, no matter how afraid, and no matter how alone you may feel today, know this, that the Department of Justice, and indeed the entire Obama administration, want you to know that we see you, we stand with you, and we will do everything we can to protect you going forward. And please know that history is on your side. This country was founded on the promise of equal rights for all, and we have always managed to move closer to that ideal, little by little, day by day. And it may not be easy, but we will get there together.
African American transgender women are facing a lot of violence, and it needs to come to an end.
You see it on the news, but you're not involved with it.
What I want people to realize is that transitioning is not the end of the journey. Yes, it's an integral part of revealing who we are to ourselves and the world, but there's much life afterward. These stories earn us visibility, but fail at reporting on what our lives are like beyond our bodies, hormones, surgeries, birth names, and before and after photos.